everyone, Bethany here and welcome to my channel. Today I am working with tailor-made cards for you and we are going to have some fun. This month's theme is food. So I've gone ahead and I have fussy cut out all of the fun goodies in the kit I chose, which is the Soda Shop. This is a cute kit. It's a little different than you might have seen me use in a while. And my goal today, dun dun dun, is not to distress. And if I do, it's only shadowing. I will pre-qualify my choices with that. But there's really cute backgrounds, there's cute ephemera, so much fun to be had. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive in. First, I'm going to start off screen because my plate is warped and it's not really pretty to watch me do. I have this really cute intertwined lattice spellbinders embossing folder. If you can see it when I tilt it this way, it reminds me of those cable knit sweaters, and for whatever reason that just reminds me of the Soda Shop. This is what the embossing folder looks like when using on the gradient card front that is provided in the kit. Now I'm going to start just playing around with the ephemera already. I am liking the look of what's happening without adding too much. Sometimes when you have a great background or great ephemera, it doesn't take much to figure out where you're going next. So I am going to go ahead and assemble. I have this pre-cut, or this is actually, I just cut an A2 size card base down from Maker Forte's 110 white cardstock. Now I'm going to start cutting down all of the parts that are unwanted. Be careful when you're cutting embossed. You have to make sure your blade is clean and as tight to the other side as possible. Otherwise you end up just bending the cardstock instead of cutting it. And I am going to keep the darker color on the bottom. I think it pops more that way. And as always, my first tip for when you are gluing embossed anything, glue it, don't tape it. You'll thank yourself in the end. So I'm using the Barely Art Glue and now using some of my Dollar Tree foam tape. I am going to pop the Soda Fountain Shop up on some foam tape. And because I popped that up on foam tape, I'm going to actually keep the two pieces of ephemera just with glue. I think having the Soda Fountain Shop pops enough that the ephemera pieces don't need foam tape to add on. Don't mind me just throwing my glued pieces down places. I feel like making messes today, I guess. And because I chose to use glue instead of foam tape, these will potentially curl up if I don't put some pressure on them. So I am going to put this under a weight while I work on the next card. I have this idea in my head of a technique I want to try. I just thought it would be a really good look, and so I'm going for it. I have here the Wow Embossing Pad Ultra Clear Slow Drying, and I am just coating the ephemera with a generous layer of the embossing ink. And then I am going to take my Ranger Ultra Thick embossing powder that I got off of Amazon, and I am going to put a lovely thick coat of embossing powder right on my ephemera. And because you want to have a nice thick coat, you don't want to tap it off. Now, make sure you heat from the back, otherwise your embossing powder will start flying away and it won't melt because it's not there anymore. I keep it at high heat, but if you need to take a break in between or you need to use tweezers once one side is completed, it's up to you. You figure out what is going to protect you the best. Now you can see how shiny and glossy it looks, like a Coke bottle. It's really pretty up close in person. So now I'm just going to go ahead and do that with a few more of the ephemera and we'll go from there. And the reason why I'm patting down instead of pressing and smearing is because I don't want to smear any of the ink underneath. If you really wanted to build it up, you could put several layers like this, but I, for the sake of time, I'm only going to just do the initial one layer. the end result of a few of these embossed. I did double emboss this background, mostly because I let a few bits fly away, and to get it smoother I needed to do a second layer. These are really fun. They will curl, so when you do glue or foam, whatever you are using to adhere them to your card base or whatever you're putting it on, you want to make sure that it has some pressure on it so it doesn't curl up, especially over time. So now I have this blank card front, and I am going to use Prickley Pear's Berry Sweet Fruit Treats stamp set, and I am going to just use this strawberry, and we're going to make a background out of the strawberry. I'm going to once again use the slow drying embossing pad, and I am just going a little crazy putting this strawberry design down. I'm basically making my own background, and I know I said I wasn't going to do any distressing, but I'm not going to worry too much if I don't make these super great. They're going to mostly get covered up by my ephemera anyways, but having the hint of the strawberries there is the goal. And you want to make sure you have some type of angle lighting so you can see where you've already been and you're not going there all over again. But if you want to do it more sporadic and cross over your stamps, that's fine too, or whatever look you are aiming for if you do this technique. And now I am going to use this holographic embossing powder from Ranger. It's going to add a little sparkle and leave no color behind. In both techniques with the embossing powder, I am not, you'll notice, using any anti-static powder. I am doing that for several reasons. The first, when you're doing the ephemera and the full coating, you're not going to need it because, again, you're not trying to have any gaps. So anti-static powder doesn't do you much good. For this strawberry, because I am trying to just give that holographic but also a resist look, I don't need to be so focused on missing any spots. If there's a little bit of holographic powder not on where my embossing ink stuck to, that's okay. It's just adding a little glitz. And then I'm just going to heat this up on the high setting, and because it is a fuller coverage, it's going to take a little more time. So if you have to take a break in between, that's totally fine. I'm going to use the Color Hive inks. I'm using Pit Stop Pink and Tiptree Jam. And I am just going to make a blended effect happen, starting at the bottom with the darkest color. This is a super bright pink. I love it. It's very strawberry-ish. And then taking the Pit Stop Pink, which is a lighter, brighter pink, and starting at the corner. And you'll see as I'm doing this, there's a resist that's happening over where I put the holographic powder on those strawberries. And if you're ever trying to get the ink not on your fingers, the best solution is to use a microfiber rag to hold it down. But look at how luscious those colors are. And you can go back and forth with each color to fill in where you want. Once you have a blend you're satisfied with, then go ahead and take your microfiber and just rub all the excess ink right off the top of the holographic powder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and add some ephemera. To tie a little bit that color in, I'm going to go ahead and add what's left on that brush right into the base of the ephemera. This is not distressing, this is shadowing. It's also tying a color in that was not previously in. And then I'm going to use the other brush and do it for the guest check ephemera. Keeping true to my word, I promise. This is not distressing, this is just adding shadow and a hint of color. Alright, then I'm going to go ahead and glue and assemble my Barely Art glue. And then I'm going to use one of the sentiments from this stamp set. It says, "You are the sweetest friend." So I'm going to first press with the Color Hive Snow Flurries, and I am going to just add it directly onto the ephemera. And because the two don't line up really great, I'm going to just do one at a time. Now here comes the tricky part. And I'm going to grab the Remarkable ink pad. But before I do that, I have to make sure I clean off these. So I'm just wetting my microfiber with some water and then cleaning off. I could use a stamp cleaner, but this is the fastest thing I could find nearest me. So basically what I've made with the white was an outline, so I can really line it up. And now you can see how there's a little bit of outline and shadow happening at the same time by using the two different colors, the black and the white. It's a design effect that I love using when it comes to stamping. It's obviously going to be easier to do graphically through a design program because it'll be more accurate. This is just imitating that same look. And there you go. There is the next card. Now the next one is going to take a little bit of finagling, but basically I am going to go against my word and I'm actually going to crack some of this and we will have one version of distressing. It's basically just making it look like an old countertop that may have a few cracks and crinkles in. And now I am going to use one of the bottoms of the A2 size to stamp out my sentiment here. And I'm just going to take the Remarkable ink, which is Eclipse Black, and stamp it out to the left. And then grabbing this heart, stamping that out as well. And then I will just go ahead and cut this down and start assembling. Using Barely Art Glue. I will though use foam tape for the sentiment itself, just to distinguish it from the rest of the ephemera. And I'm going to put it down before I put the last two pieces down, just so I can measure up and make sure I'm not going over the area I want to have that sentiment at. And because it is curling up, I will use foam tape for the top of the larger ephemera here, and then glue the bottom of it under. So you'll have to put glue at the base. And definitely make sure that you have pressure there. And I'm going to do the same thing for the Coke bottle here, so that it ends up tucking here. And now I'm going to just press it and work on the next card. For my last card, I have this. It was the A7 size printout, and I cut it down to an A2 size card front. So I'm going to use that. I also had a piece of ephemera that I cut the top off of here, and I am going to go ahead and just stamp down my sentiment. The sentiment is You're So Sweet. I'm going to use the Blueberry Cheesecake color for this part of the sentiment. And right about the middle, right there, as if it were not a part of anything else. It kind of blends in instead of stands out, and I kind of like that look. Now I'm going to place my ephemera so I know where I want the thank you to be. So gluing most of the pieces again with my Barely Art Glue. And since this is a smaller card front, placement is very important. I will use foam tape for the glossed up, embossed up ephemera. So gorgeous in person. And because this is a little smaller than the regular card front, I am going to let that other ephemera go off just a little bit. Now I can see where I am putting my thank you, because I'm pre-placing it so I can see that it's lined up for sure. And I'm going to use the Remarkable black ink again. Sometimes it's nice to see it before you put ink on it. And there you go. Before I finish off this card, I'm going to put a sentiment on the inside that says Sending Love and Cheer. Once again, using my color Hive Remarkable Eclipse Black. And it's wavy, trying to straighten it as much as possible. And then I will go ahead and let that dry. Now that I put this one on a card base, I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of Fun Gems. I'm going to imitate bubbles off of the soda. And because these are self-stick, I have to actually determine where I want them to be before I try to stick them down. So I didn't need my picker poker like I thought. So now this card is all complete. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorials Here is the first card we made, the soda fountain shop. Simple with that embossing folder, and then inside are sending love and cheer. Then the second card, you are the sweetest friend. I left the inside blank to add a sentiment later. It can be a thank you card, birthday card, whatever you want. But you see that embossing resist technique here with the blended background. And then, of course, the embossing technique that we used on this A2 size card front. I really, really love it. You don't see the distressing that I did. It really just works though without that distressing. I do have 2 ephemera plus the sentiment that aren't using that embossing, so having a mix of the 2 really makes things pop a little bit more. And then the fourth one that we did with the root beer, the thank you, you're so sweet, and the little bubbles here. They're just really fun, all of them super unique, but now you can see what you can do with just one digital kit. I will leave the link down below for that digital kit, and if there is any special code, promotion code going on, there may be, I will also leave that code down below. Also, let me know down below which one of these cards is your favorite. Is it number 1, 2, 3, 4? I'm having a hard time picking, but I hope you had fun today as well. Don't forget to like, share, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. We would like to see you around more often. I also will have the links to our shop, our customizing shop, as well as tailor-made cards for you, their link to the shop, and any affiliate links if you feel like shopping, because apparently it's a shopping kind of day. Pun completely intended here. I hope to see you all very soon. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for joining in. Happy making. Bye. Especially because I didn't cut it down enough. No! Say it isn't so. Card base that comes in the kit. Not card base. Whew, I need to let my coffee kick in today. Alright. Oops, if I don't drop all of my tools today. This is going to be a riot to edit, man. If you want to shop it, one day it'll get easier. Alright. If you want to check out any links down below, if you want to, I don't know, do you? Do you want to check out the links down below? I think you should. I mean, support my little budding family. Oh my gosh. Man, the coffee has not kicked in today. Seriously.